Blake X, and this is another Nuclear Reaction. What's up, survivors? So we are getting back to the Infinite List with another item. This song is A Different World by Korn, and this was requested by Rachel. Now, for those who have seen previous reactions, or more appropriately, for those who haven't, I'm not the biggest fan of Korn. Now, that does not mean I'm not going to be open-minded when I check them out. I always am with every reaction that I do. But you should know, if you're a hardcore Korn fan and you're watching this reaction video for the first time, for whatever reason, Korn is one of those bands that I just never got into. I was never crazy about them. And one thing that I don't really care for is the sound of Jonathan Davis's vocals. Now, that's not to say that I don't respect him as a singer. I happen to think he's actually very talented. It's just that his style of vocals is not really... It doesn't really suit my taste when it comes to metal. Now, it's possible that my mind can be changed. That has happened before. In fact, one of the biggest and strongest examples of that happening on this channel is Slipknot. Here was a band that I really never thought that I would fully like. I had heard them years and years ago. In fact, they were one of the first bands that I ever heard when I was first getting into metal. But I just kind of, never really... Let me put it this way. As I got older, I just didn't like that style of music, and I didn't like Corey Taylor's vocal style, when we were talking about vocals. But since I started doing reactions, after like 2 or 3 songs, I think it was like on the 3rd or 4th reaction to Slipknot, I remember I really started to feel my mind starting to change and really started to discover things about them that I liked that I had never noticed before. And so I really did become a fan of some Slipknot songs. That's totally possible with Korn. That could happen. I honestly don't know. So I'm going into this with an open mind, ready for anything. And I have the lyrics pulled up as always, although also someone was awesome enough to leave a comment pinned underneath the video with all the lyrics included. So I think that's pretty awesome. I'll probably just read them off from there. That was left by Voidfall. So thank you, Voidfall, for leaving the lyrics there. So yeah, we're just going to jump into this and see how it is. It's been a minute since I've done a Korn reaction. I think I've only done 2 other ones on this channel, but it's been a while since the last one, so it will be interesting to get back into this band and see what else they have to offer, what else they bring to the table. And thank you guys for taking this journey with me. I hope you enjoy it. And before I get into things, just want to mention patreon.com/nuclearreactions. You can join for as low as $2 a month, get access to all kinds of exclusive bonus content, the merch store, Yale Nuclear Shop, the new second merch store, Death Urge Clothing, and the Facebook group, The Mushroom Cloud. Links to all these things will be in the description beneath the video. They're great ways to share your love and support for the channel and to enhance your experience as a member of the nuclear family. All right. A Different World. The title does interest me, I'll say that much. And the album artwork does as well. Korn always has interesting album art. I'll give him that. I definitely have to give him credit there. It always makes you want to know more. It makes you want to know what the story is behind the artwork itself. So maybe I'll look into that after I do the reaction. And again, for those who don't know, for those who are new to the channel, in addition to the reaction, I also do a full lyrical breakdown. If you're wondering why my reaction videos are so long, that's why. I really give a full deep dive analysis of the music, talk about what the song is saying, give my perspective, my personal opinion on it. It's a whole full experience. So that's what you're getting. That's what you'll always get on this channel. All right, Korn, A Different World. Let's hear this in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, I'm kind of digging this.
I dream of the past so I can break through the walls I had built inside. The thoughts I can grasp, transparency through. They constantly fight.
I like this beat too.
I love to see a different world. A place where you can find me. Feel me, kill me, my back's up against the wall. Your magic spell doesn't work anymore. Kill me, that's what you've got to face, my friend. This ain't the end.
Okay, some initial thoughts. This song is kind of surprising me, actually. I said that I was going in with an open mind, and that's 100% true. But, I did not know if this would be one that I ended up, having my mind changed about or not. It seems like that could be happening, actually. Yeah, it's just... I maintain my opinion about Jonathan Davis's vocals. I'm still not the hugest fan of them, but he's using his voice a little bit differently in this song. He's using much more of a growl, and he's using his voice... His vocals are kind of lower on the register in this one, if that makes sense. So I kind of am not disliking his voice as much as I usually do in most Korn songs that I've heard. So I can't say that much, but I'm still not entirely sold on his vocal style. Now, the other thing I have to talk about is the instrumentation. I like the guitar. There's some heavy guitar riffs in here that are quite good, actually, that kind of impressed me pretty early on. And then the beat, that's something that in theory, I shouldn't really like as a metalhead, but maybe it's because I branched out so much on this channel and, started reacting to so many other genres of music that I actually like the beat as well. So there's a lot in this song's favor in terms of my opinion so far. It's definitely off to a solid start, but I'm not completely sold on it quite yet. So that being said, let's continue.
Why can't I relax and let it be true? This world that I tried to hide, it's kind of a mess, too reckless for you. This place makes me feel alive. I love to see a different world, a place where you can find me. Feel me, kill me, my back's up against the wall. Your magic spell doesn't work anymore. Kill me, that's what you've got to face, my friend. This ain't the end. The call of the purpose is the change in behavior. Inside us all we keep constraints on the strangers. It gets on top of you.
It's like Korn, Taylor.
Your perspective, then you know it. You feel it, it's as dark as you can get. You want it.
Okay, I remember now. For a second, it caught me off guard. I had forgotten that Corey Taylor apparently does guest vocals on this, and I like this part so far. The reason I know is because when I was searching for this on YouTube before I started this reaction, the official music video came up and it said featuring Corey Taylor on it. That's how I know Corey is in this. And also, I think Rachel may have told me when she made the request, but I probably forgot about that. But yeah, once I started getting into this song, I forgot about the Corey Taylor part. So that really was a curveball to me. It caught me completely off guard. But I am enjoying that part. I like that they have him on as a guest vocalist on this. I think it's, as much as I don't like Korn and as much as I don't really care for their style compared with other metal bands, Corey's voice is suitable for this type of style because stylistically, Slipknot are also in the kind of new metal category, or at the very least, they started out that way. So to have Corey as a guest vocalist in this, it's not that unusual. So I am liking that part so far. The main chorus, I don't really care for in terms of the vocals. I like the instrumentation on that part. But when it comes to the actual vocals, the only part of Jonathan Davis's vocals that I can actually say I'm slightly enjoying in this song are the parts where he really does more of a growl, and more of a scream. Not really a scream, but really more of a growl. So that's pretty much how I feel about the song so far. There are parts of it that I actually quite like, to my surprise, but there are also parts that remind me of why I probably will never be a Korn fan. So that's pretty much all I have to say about it up to this point, but we still have plenty more to go of the song, so let's finish it up. I like this part. Okay, A Different World by Korn. This one is kind of... I feel two different ways about this song. And it kind of goes back to what I was saying when I paused the music, which I basically said, there are parts of this that I actually ended up liking. And I may listen to this song again just to become better acquainted with those parts of the music that I enjoyed and try and figure out why I enjoyed them. But like I said at the beginning, I like the beat, I like the guitar, I like the heaviness of this song. And once again, the chorus didn't do it for me, but also to my surprise, I didn't totally dislike Jonathan Davis's vocals in other parts of this, specifically the parts where he used his growls a lot. So, it just goes to show you how easily your mind can be changed by something. And I always say this, but that's one of the benefits of doing this reaction channel. You know, there have been so many curveballs thrown my way, and so many surprises, and so many changes of heart that I've had when it comes to music on this channel. And yeah, I really don't feel like I'm ever going to become a Korn fan, but I have to give credit where it's due. And there were parts of this that I legitimately liked. And that's surprising, but it's a good surprise. There are also parts of this that I didn't quite like as much. I felt that structurally, the song was missing something. Like, and I can't quite put my finger on what it is, but it just wasn't, the song overall was just not in good territory for me. Certainly not in great territory. It's something that I could sort of pick and choose pieces of it that I liked and that I enjoyed. But because I didn't enjoy the whole song in its entirety, I can't officially say that I like the song, if that makes sense to you guys. Now, the main thing that I really didn't like in the song was how kind of lackluster the chorus sounded to me. I didn't like the way that he used his voice. The chorus was not even really catchy. It didn't really stick in my head, and I don't think it's going to. One of the saving graces of this song, though, was Corey Taylor's guest vocal part. Again, that caught me by surprise because I had forgotten that he was a guest vocalist here. I don't know why I forgot that. But regardless of that, that was another very good surprise, and I really enjoyed his part there. I do think that Corey's voice could have been utilized a little bit better. I don't know, Corey Taylor's voice has grown on me. I've grown to become a fan of his voice, especially his singing voice. In fact, truth be told, I like Stone Sour much more than Slipknot. But again, there was something about the vocal melodies in this song that they were missing something. You know, the chorus is one good example, but another good example is Corey Taylor's part. I always enjoy hearing his voice, but the way that he sang just wasn't memorable to me. It kind of just, again, it doesn't stay in my head, and I don't think that it will. So I think that his guest part could have been used more effectively, and the way that he sang, the melody that his voice had could have been more memorable if he had chosen to sing in perhaps a different way or to a different tune. So that's pretty much how I feel about this musically. It's kind of like, I don't even want to say 50-50, it's more like 60-40 to me, with the 40% being the part that I liked. But the fact that I could even pick parts out of this song and legitimately say that I like them, that's got to be progress. You know, that either shows that my mind is becoming even more open, or that Korn is possibly growing on me, or that this just was one of the many songs that they have that I happen to have parts that I liked. Certainly, I can name you 10 Korn songs that I don't like. But anyway, it is a good thing that I did like pieces of this. I got to give credit where credit is due once again. And that's pretty much how I feel about the music. But I do think that if I listen to this one or two more times, I may even find more things that I appreciate about this. And it may grow on me even a little bit more. But it's not going to become a song that I would choose to listen to on a regular basis. It's not something that's really going to be memorable and stick in my head. But for what it was, you know, I can pick little parts out of it and give those parts the credit that they deserve. So that's pretty much how I feel about the music up to this point. So it is interesting. And now let's get to the lyrics, see how they do. Let's see if the lyrics can kind of redeem the song. Because when I give ratings on this channel, not only am I rating it based on how much I enjoyed the music, but also how much I enjoyed the lyrics and whatever message they have. So let's see what we're talking about here in the lyrics department. I dream of the past so I can break through the walls I have built inside, the thoughts I can't grasp. Transparency through, they're constantly fight and collide. I'd love to see a different world, a place where you can't find me. Feel me, kill me, my back's up against the wall. Your magic spell doesn't work anymore. Kill me, that's what you've got to face, my friend. This ain't the end. Why can't I relax and let it be true? This world that I try to hide, it's kind of a mess, too reckless for you. This place makes me feel alive. I'd love to see a different world, a place where you can't find me. The call of the purpose is the change in behavior, and that is all we keep constraints on the soldiers. Okay? It gets on top of you and forces your perspective. Then you know it, you feel it. It's as dark as you can get. You want it. Harder give it to you, you just want it. I don't think you'll ever get it. Okay. Very interesting. Also requires a moment of thought on my part to really think about what this is talking about. I do actually think this is pretty solid lyrically. I think this is about the pain and struggle that we deal with in reality. And when we're away from or not engaging in that, or when we feel a moment of reprieve, we have a different world inside our minds. A place we can go to for feelings of comfort and security, and from an artistic perspective, even inspiration. And I think sometimes some of us, especially artists and people leading alternative kinds of lives, for lack of a better word, people like metal artists, I think some of us just want to kind of retreat permanently into that world. And of course, I say this for nearly every song that I review lately, but given the situation in the world right now, I'd say that almost everyone can relate to that need at the moment. And, I've mentioned to a couple of friends of mine in the past week or so, I've talked to them about how in some ways I'm sort of a control freak. Not when it comes to other people, but when it comes to myself and my environment. And this has even caused problems when I live with people because I want to have domination over my living space rather than sharing it with someone else. But the point that I'm trying to arrive at is that a song like this makes me think, or makes me feel, that Jonathan Davis feels like he's not in control. Like if this song was written about him or from his perspective, which, given the last Korn song that I reacted to, I think that he tends to write pretty autobiographical songs. And certain lines in this song jump out to me to kind of support my argument that control issues kind of are playing a role here, because you have lines like, "My back's up against the wall," and "Your magic spell doesn't work anymore." And whoever that line in particular is talking about, whether it's friend or enemy or partner, that doesn't matter so much as the action itself, which is that it seems like someone was exercising control over an aspect of himself or of his life. The magic spell could be anything from love to manipulation to sheer narcissism, and he wants to break away from it and go to a world where he's in control, even if that world is figurative and it's just a change of place or a change of circumstance. Which is funny because I can relate to that, at least partly. Although to a certain degree, I also take my world with me, and being an artist, I also know how to live in my head from time to time. And if I didn't, I wouldn't have as much artistic inspiration when it comes to my writing or my artwork, whatever it may be. And I think that when it comes to the artistic context, that Jonathan Davis can also relate, and that may be playing a role in what he's saying here. What's really interesting, actually, is that when you write a song about life or even about relationship issues, especially when it's a song relating to one person specifically, it's always inherently derivative and influenced by an outside source, sometimes against the will of the artist who's actually writing it, funnily enough. And that's not always a bad thing either, because pain and anger often lead to the creation of great music and great writing. And there are so many metal artists out there to prove that, when in their darkest times, they've done some of their best albums. But what I mean when I say that is, even as he's writing this song, obviously pouring and venting his frustrations into the lyrics, the writing itself is actually about this person and situation that he's trying to get away from. And so in kind of a twisted case of irony, it's like the very song that might be giving him some kind of catharsis is also perpetuating his focus on the negative situation. And as strange as it sounds, I don't think that it's being contradictory, that sometimes you have to fixate heavily on an issue in order to resolve that issue. A lot of artists and a lot of people need to often do something that represents the very problem person or the very problem situation that's bothering them. Some people, there's plenty of proof of this, but some people vent about it on Facebook. Other people write songs about it. It just comes down to what works for you. And but whatever you do, the issue itself has to be focused upon before there can really be resolution, in my opinion. So I think this song stands as a perfect example of how art is such a great vehicle for that. And I would even argue it's much more cathartic than if you just complained about it to someone, Instead, you pour those emotions into the art itself. So, look, however I might feel about Korn's music, objectively speaking, I think Jonathan Davis is a pretty damn talented artist. So, very interesting. I do think that the lyrics, for me anyway, as a listener and as a reader, I do think that the message of this song does redeem the song for me somewhat. So, this all begs the question of what is the different world, right? And I'm also looking at his album artwork, and it also occurs to me that this song might be reflecting on the trauma from Davis's childhood, and how a child will often use their imagination to kind of step outside themselves. And actually, that's not just a kid thing either. Anyone who's going through a traumatic experience, it's totally possible that they'll just kind of zone out because their brains can't process the pain that they're dealing with. So, the issue that this song centers around might be from long ago in his past, and he's still trying to get into that different world in his mind. And of course, the first line of the song was, "I dream of the past so I can break through." So I think that's actually both things that I was saying, working hand in hand with one another. On one hand, he is reflecting on the trauma of his past, and on the other, he is experiencing a cathartic moment because he's making himself think about it, so that he can finally move on and create that different world. And again, I very much think you take that world with you wherever you go. It's up to you how to shape it, and it's up to you to determine what's in it, or who's in it, in many cases. So for me, anyone in the past who caused problems for me or made life hard for me in any way, there's no room for them in my present, because they're just not part of my world, my little internal world, you know? And look, I think that's the key to moving on from a negative experience with someone. Reflect on the situation, resolve it, and then make those problem people the faded memories that they deserve to be. But yeah, it's very interesting to me how music can so often be therapy for the musician, you know, let alone the listeners. But it's also more than just music too. Like, I think whenever your mind is idle, it has nothing to do except reflect on negativity. Sometimes in an endless loop. And, you know, alternatively, when you're doing something where you can channel your creativity and the imaginative side of yourself, I think that's a huge treatment for depression or pain. Speaking about myself, I can say that I always feel like I'm at my best when I'm doing something artistic. Whether it's this channel, whether it's my artwork, whether it's my writing, any or all of those things are very good and very healthy. So I think that kind of self-healing through art is a huge part of what Korn does, and I think that's pretty cool. So, you know, once again, got to give them credit where they deserve it. Very potent lyrics here, very potent message, I should say. And, you know, the music, it is what it is, you know. Parts of it I like, but I think I need to re-listen to this song after this video to really get a better sense of how I feel about those parts of the music. Probably the best thing about the music that I liked with this one was the heaviness of the guitar. And the actual sound of the guitar. That was probably the biggest takeaway for me. And also, you know, Corey Taylor's guest vocal part was a nice little addition, even if I, once again, didn't quite care for how he sang it in this song. So, yeah, that's pretty much what I think of the song. The lyrics were much better than the music on this one, in my opinion. And you know what? As much as I still don't like Korn, you know, as much as I'm still not a fan of Korn, I would still suggest to you guys that if you want to make another Korn suggestion, another item for the infinite list, leave it in the comments below. If you want me to react to a song, bear in mind that a lot of their older classical material I did hear in the early 2000s when I was, you know, first getting into metal. I didn't listen to it by choice in most cases, but regardless, I heard a lot of it. So if you're going to recommend something by Korn, try and do something from their later eras, stuff that I probably haven't heard. But anyway, that's my opinion, my review, my analysis. In terms of rating, I have to give this one, because the lyrics were so strong and because, to my surprise, there were parts of this that I enjoyed, I'm going to give this one, I'll even give it a 9 out of 12 on the Doomsday Clock. I was going to give it an 8, but I'll bump it up to a 9. I think it deserves that much. So, you know, there could be a Korn song in the future that I end up liking the entire thing, you know. Nothing is predictable when it comes to music. If I've learned anything, it's that. So thank you so much, guys, for watching this. That's all for this video. Thank you for the support. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now. All it takes is one click. Click that bell for notifications, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Much love and respect to the Nuclear family, and I'll see you all again real soon.